Hey guys, it's West here, back with another episode of I Laika Oreos. Today we're back, of course, on the Laika account, joined by some lovely nature sounds in the background, a little bit of ambience. Hopefully we'll get the situation figured out soon. I will hopefully have a more soundproof setup in the coming few days, so we'll see about that, or the coming few weeks, I should say, not few days. Um, but let's talk about some new stuff on this account. So first things first, we've made a few 6 stars. As you guys might have realized in the last few episodes, I have been stockpiling a bunch of fodder for 6 stars. I had enough food for, I think this is six stars, almost six stars. Today I made four. I was just in a mood to clear up some space, and I had the food to do so, and I have a bunch of monsters that I want to build, so I went ahead and 6-starred all of them. As you can see here, we have our second Lucian 6-starred, we have our Theomars, we have Sabrina and Talia as well, because those two twins I want to use in Giants and then eventually in Dragons as well, as maybe a fast raid team. I have been experimenting a little bit on my main account, playing around with some compositions that can use them, since they provide tons of damage, obviously, as well as all the necessary raid debuffs. So, I did decide to go ahead and 6-star them since I'm going to build them anyways. I'm working toward a Super Angel Mon now. As you guys may be able to tell by the guild point amounts, we have been consistently doing guild wars on all the accounts, trying to move forward. So I almost have a Super Angel Mon. I don't think I want to pop the XP boosters anytime soon because as you can see here, I only have 91 crystals left. I've been farming a lot lately. I've been keeping up with the current event, trying to see how far I can go. Initially, I was going for another water chakram because the team that I've been working toward building is this team. I'll go ahead and put it in here to show you guys. But I was going toward building this team, and this last slot would be filled by a second Talia. But, after thinking about it for a bit, I did go through my monster box while I was 6-starring things, and I noticed... Where is she at? I noticed and remembered I had the Wind Chakram. And the Wind Chakram actually has a little bit more DPS at the mid-boss area, where the mid-boss has the annoying Water Golem passive, where the damage is reduced greatly when the Water Golem is below 50% HP. And there the Wind Chakram can help speed it up with her ignoring the beneficial effects or ignoring any sort of effect that... that reduces damage, which is really good. In addition to that, also does additional damage based on the number of effects on the target period, harmful or beneficial. So that's really, really nice. And so does the water boomerang when she attacks with her. So I'm probably going to end up building this team for my endgame team. I'm not too sure how I'm going to get all this worked out because I still have to get the runes in. I still have to get the speed tuning down because... there's kind of a scale, a back and forth scale between DPS you do and the speed your units need. Of course, the more DPS you can do, the more okay it is to gimp the speed on your units in order to do that. And ideally with this team, you're not taking that many turns, which is why you don't need as much speed for these units. Also, semi-notable is that this sort of team, this specific team right here, can actually be used in Necropolis as well, and would likely be my Necro team, and I'd try to get a few shield sets in there, just to talk about when it comes to, efficiency and min-maxing. So having a full DPS team and not worrying too much about speed would also make this team very viable in Necro, because obviously in Necro, your Speed Lucian is not going to be a Speed Lucian anymore. It's going to be pulled all the way right back down to whatever... its raw stats are, essentially negating the whole purpose of making him really fast. Of course, Speed Lucian's still good for Arena, so we'll kind of see as I experiment with teams how this goes. But I just wanted to give you guys an idea of where my rune priority is going to be at. I think Raok is safe for now. The only thing he might lose is this slot for crit damage rune. It's okay. It has good attack and crit rate, but that's it. It would need... a speed enchant and grind to get rid of that resistance in order to make it good, because I believe this is a purple rune. It looks like a purple rune. Otherwise, the rest of his runes aren't crazy, and yeah, they're probably not going to get stolen for the twins or anybody like that. I was mostly the person concerned about that because I do really like using Raok in Guild Wars, as well as the early stages of both TOA all the way up to 50. I use Raok, and then in TOA hard the first 30 stages or so. It's just hilarious to watch Raok go ahead, and if he teams up with Hua or if he teams up with Laika, just massive nukes. Other notable thing on the account, Praha. Pretty cool unit. Wasn't really summoning for her. I think it was the last TOA rotation where I did one or two summons because there was somebody I was looking for or didn't mind getting, and within the 2 or 3 summons we got Praha. She's a really cool unit. I threw some Despair runes on her to clear up some space. Not really good Despair runes, at least not deserving. Or Praha, deserves better quality runes. I haven't put any Devilmons into her or anything like that because, of course, right now I'm worrying about my core dungeon teams because that right now is the main priority and focus of the Laika account is just grind through dungeons, get to raid with just Giants runes, and then blow raid right out of the water so that I can start carrying some of the other accounts like Freshmade through raids. A little bit of crossover here and there because I do want to talk about how I kind of wrap all of my accounts together. But I did pull her, so she's kind of cool. She'll probably just remain as a Guild Wars unit. I don't see myself putting her in raid. The resistance lead is really, really nice, and she has this heal, which is pretty okay, especially because your units are constantly or should be consistently cleansed in raid, and you're going to be attacked anyway, so you're probably getting knocked out of sleep. So, I mean, it's a nice heal, but other than that, she doesn't provide any debuffs. So she doesn't really provide anything else for raid besides a heal, so I probably won't use her in raid unless I get really desperate, but I don't think I will. But let's see what else. I was working on some fusion monsters for the Fire Panda. As you can see, I have the Wind Kung Fu Girl here and the Fire Succubus. I was leveling them for the Fire Panda because I think he's a really, really nice frontline tank for raid, mostly because he provides a ridiculous amount of debuffs. So, I mean, I have all the fusion food besides Fire Viking, who I can just farm for during Fire Day next week. So I could theoretically fuse him, and I do have all these XP boosters now, but I don't know. There's a lot of other units I like in place of him, especially since I've been using him on my main account. I'm like, okay, he's a defense breaker, and I have a lot of defense breakers in my team anyways. My damage dealers have defense break on skill 1. I have Darian in my team on that account, so I have Darian for a defense break, and I don't really need an extra defense break. His extra healing is kind of nice. He's got the revenge, which is cool, and he does like a tiny little bit of damage. Plus, he has all those harmful effects. But it's like, can I optimize the team more and bring other tanks that do more? Maybe. So I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to go ahead and fuse him. I probably will end up anyways because he's just such a solid monster. He could be used in other places in the game. We've got a few other Nat 4s along the way. Nothing too notable. We have 2 of the Sniper Mark 1s, the wind and the water one. So that's nice. We have some extra food here for 2 3/4 of another 6-star. So we're probably not going to 6-star anybody anytime soon because we're not going to have the runes for them, especially since I just made the really obviously poor decision of 6-starring 4 damage dealers back to back to back to back. So I don't think I'm going to be 6-starring anyone too soon. Definitely not a damage dealer in the near future. But I just wanted to get everything set up. I have been thinking about 6-starring Lisa, though, as a potential cleanser for raid. Now, she doesn't bring anything besides a cleanse and glancing on skill 1, so it is a little iffy for me there. I have decided to go a different direction in the current event, which is why I initially brought up talking about using the wind chakram instead of the water chakram, because I was initially summoning for a second water chakram on this event. I haven't missed a single day since day 1. It's been 12 days straight, so I've gotten every single possible day I can. I've maxed out on the points. Here are all the water nat 4s I've summoned, and then today I switched my focus to wind because I don't really care about a second water chakra. I'm looking at what I have, thinking about what I'm going to use things for. I'm not too worried. If all else fails with the event, I guess I'm going to grab Orion, as my backup plan. I'd probably grab Orion. And I've switched over to Wind because I would like to get Delphoy. Delphoy is another unit, another cleanser who doesn't bring a whole lot to the table besides the cleanse and heal. Kind of similar, kind of a strict upgrade from Kona Maya, in my opinion. Kona Maya is a more frequent cleanse, but in addition to that, she's got a slow on skill 1 if she does happen to crit, which she probably will with a Hua lead. She's got an okay chance of critting, but mostly there because she can have higher base stats in order to tank frontline, which is really, really nice about her. So you can put her in frontline. She gives cleanse immunity. She gives a nice heal now. She got buffed recently, so her heal's even larger than it was before. So she's even more viable of a pick for raids. So I did think about picking her up. I mean, 30% heal's pretty good. 2-turn immunity is pretty good. 4-turn cleanse. I mean, that's pretty nice. And then she can slow on her first skill for 2 turns if she gets a crit. So she's pretty nice. The big thing though is her. I'm gonna have to pick some random here who's got her 6-starred, or not. Has her 6-starred so I can see her base stats. But you can see the 700 base defense on a Nat 4 and still, I mean, almost 11,000 HP. Her base stats are really, really good for raid. Obviously, this is not a great example of how you'd build one. I'll just self-promote here, actually, and go onto my account and see how mine is built. I think mine is currently built well for raid. For frontline, obviously, you want higher base defense, but because she's got that really high base defense, she can get away with that. Yeah, you can see mine. Mine's actually on a backline build because I use her when I use Fire Panda, Darien, frontline. And, I just made her really fast on Violent with pretty solid HP and good defense. So, I mean, with like 500 more defense, she can be a pretty consistent frontline tank as well. You'd want to sustain this HP, but she can take some hits too, which is really, really nice. So I was thinking about her for the event. She's probably who I'm going for because I would like to get into raid eventually on the Laika account. I kind of just want to start setting up my future on this account more than anything. You can see I have plenty of mana. I am very, very picky with the runes that I keep on this account because, like I've said, I plan on staying in Giants for a long time, so as such, I plan on keeping the runes that are best. You saw the 5-star rune on Rogue. That was a little embarrassing, but obviously he's a fun toy. He's not something I just plan on keeping, but here's generally what rune quality looks like. We'll go over our Hua. Hua is slowly moving toward a raid build where you want her to be beyond a certain speed. 192, if I remember correctly, is the speed of the Raid 5 boss. So in order to move before him, your unit has to be 193 or more speed. So I do have Hua getting set up for that kind of build. You can see her crit rate is actually perfectly optimized. Almost perfectly optimized for her leadership skill. So I haven't been worried too much about crit rate. I have a lot of crit damage, not on purpose. What I'm aiming for now as I move forward is toward more of those HP defense attack substats. I'm going to look for those slot 1 and slot 5 runes that are speed, HP defense attack, and going for crit rate on the 2, 4, 6 slots because it's a little bit easier that way, and I could actually afford to start grinding the 1, 3, and 5 slots so I can get more speed, more HP, more defense through those grinds and enchants, so I can start getting her to the stat thresholds I want her to hit, because obviously, 15k HP is like, yeah, it can work, but it's not as much as I want. I'm aiming for more of 20k HP, I'm aiming for 1,000 defense, and then I'm aiming for 193 speed and 81% crit rate ideally, and then from there, crit damage and attack, like that's all bonus on top of those stats already. She's primarily an attack bar reducer who's and slow debuffer, who's also going to provide very significant damage regardless of how much attack I put on her. But obviously the more attack I can get, the better she's going to do there. I have seen some builds or some raid teams where Hraesvelg is used. I don't know if I want to get my Hraesvelg for that, because in order to put Hraesvelg frontline or anywhere in the team, he's going to need to be on a very different build, almost a Bastet sort of build, or a speed crit damage HP build focused on high defense subs. And other than a brand and an attack buff and speed buff, like those buffs aren't as necessary for raid, and you already get attack buff from Colleen, which I am absolutely 100% building because of how strong she is. So the branding debuff and the speed buff, like, it's not huge for the team. He turn cycles pretty well, but you actually don't want a lot of turn cycling in raid. You want to focus more on having your nukers hit really hard, But although the brand is, the brand makes him seem like he could be really, really fun. Another dude who's just like Colleen is Tien Kin. For anyone who's curious, I built him a long time ago. 6-starred him because he's really fun. He provides HP, disturb HP recovery, which is super, super important. He's got an anti-crit buff, which is a very unique buff that most units aren't going to have in Raid, or in my opinion, I don't see a lot of anti-crit buffs in Raid, and then attack break on 1. So he's got some interesting stuff. I could very well use him in place of Colleen. If I don't use Colleen, he's more damage oriented, obviously. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I am playing around with a few different teams. I can do Raid 4 with the Laika account, believe it or not, and my main. So I've done that a few times just to kind of like feel around Raid, see the stat thresholds of my units. Obviously, I don't have a consistent cleanser yet. I just threw Vero there, just because why not? He has high resistance from his lucky substats, I guess. But yeah, I'll be working on getting these 4 6-stars max leveled and hopefully runed up for giants. I can't overstate the importance of giants, guys. I'm not pushing into dragons B10 because although violent runes are really, really seductive, they're like, come here, put your units on violent so they could proc 1 out of a million times when they're on offense, and always proc against you on defense for whatever reason. But I'm not really worried about violent runes. Only thing I'm worried about right now is getting my damage up, getting my damage dealer units better, eventually farming those Rift Beasts. So we're kind of looking for fat runes for units. You know what I mean by that? High attack, high crit rate, high crit damage, screw the speed, maybe some accuracy for some debuffers. But I'm getting all set up for that as well. So I'm kind of strategically picking my units. I was going to end the video, but we'll go ahead and talk about Rift Beast really quick because I don't know how long it'll be before I make the next Laika video. I don't frequently make Laika videos because Laika is very, very specifically focused on giants. So there's not a lot to update you guys on. So I usually am just in giants, constantly grinding, burning through those crystals. But one of the big reasons for building the twins is, they're useful everywhere. One of the other big places where I like to use the twins on my account, at least personally, is the Fire Rift Beast. Crazy single target damage. They do bonus damage against fire because they're water. That's how the Rift Beasts work now. So a team like this could work pretty well. We have reliable attack buff. We have an attack leadership skill. We've got 2 pretty reliable AoEs. Obviously, adding more AoEs adds increased consistency, stuff like that. They're also good in the light and dark Rift Beasts, and even usable in the water Rift Beasts, especially after I build my Wind Chakram. She's going to do crazy damage because she does increased damage based on the number of effects on the opponent. So she does increased damage based on harmful effects, plus the Water Boomerang. I mean, the Wind Chakram can do insane damage here if you bring a lot of debuffers. So a lot of the units that I've been building already are also going to be useful in those places. That's all stuff I think about when I 6-star units. I'm not just 6-starring stuff because it's fun. I try to 6-star things that are going to be universally usable. But that's about it for the video. If you guys have any questions or comments, as always, please leave them below. I will get back to you guys as soon as possible. I try to get back within a day of seeing a comment and give you guys a thoughtful answer. But if you guys have any recommendations on what I should do next on the account, or any input, I love to see that as well. But that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hey guys, it's West again. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more.